if the elections will be kept free and fair this time. At the end, we expect to have a landslide victory, 60% for me and 40% for the mayor of Bucharest. Is there a possibility to have monarchy back in Romania? And I said yes. We are not desperate to get the power. They can say who can run and who cannot run.
Hello and welcome back to the Brussels Signal studio. My name is Justin Stairs and we're very happy to have George Simion with us today. Mr. Simion is one of just two remaining candidates in the race to become Romania's next president. Thank you for finding the time.
Thank you for your invitation.
Let's get right on with it. Following the first round of voting, you emerged as the clear favourite to become the next Romanian president. I want to know, how confident are you today? We're between the two rounds and you will probably know on Sunday night, is it, if you've won? I don't know how quickly the voting will happen, but how confident are you that you are going to become the next president?
Basically, with our experience, knowing the Romanian public and political scene and our deep state, it will happen like this. If the elections will be kept free and fair this time, they will announce at 9 p.m., which is 8 p.m. here. They will announce result in the exit poll like 50-50. Then the votes will start to be counted, and at the end we expect to have a landslide victory, 60% for me and 40% for the mayor of Bucharest in a minimum estimation.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're still confident. You said if the vote is fair. Are you concerned about manipulation?
We just received news that one of our opponents, which is currently interim Prime Minister, convoked his also Minister of Internal Affairs. He convoked all the structures in the police and told them they will search in each of our county campaign organizers, so they will monitor all the messages between us. We have over 1.5 million dead people on the voting list. Of course, there are many reasons to be worried. There's a lot of pressure from the guys who control the mainstream media in Romania and from foreign governments like the French Macron government.
And also the Polish government, can we say, because I've just seen on Twitter from Tusk, Prime Minister Tusk's account, saying Russia is rejoicing at your possible victory. Let's talk about Ukraine in that context. What is your position, please, on the Ukraine war? Are you in the so-called pro-peace camp? Or what is your view of Russia and Putin?
Russia attacked illegally and wages a war against international treaties in Ukraine. They didn't respect anything now with the relation with Ukraine and all the international countries and in their history. Russia is the biggest threat for Romania in the last 200 years under different statal forms. Talking here about the Tsarist Empire, the Soviet Union, or the current Kremlin Russian Federation of Putin. 3 years is enough for everybody. This war is not going anywhere, just producing civilian deaths, unnecessary deaths, just continuing in the favor of the industrial military complex. So our option is to follow the guidance of Donald Trump and hope we'll have a truce, a ceasefire, and the peace negotiation will start. It is hard to negotiate with the Russians. We do not definitely like how the Russians are doing business, dirty business. But unfortunately, many times the Ukrainians are behaving just exactly like Russians, having Soviet reflexes and dictatorial reflexes.
And your position on aid to Ukraine, we have talked before. I just want to check to see if it's changed.
Romania contributed a lot in the war effort. We are not respected by the Ukrainian side. My option is to put Romania first, Romanian interests first, and use any dime, any euro in the benefit of the Romanian citizens.
That means an end to aid, does it?
We will not get involved with weapons, with military, with boots on the ground. We will not get involved in any war. We will stay away.
Okay. Now, here you are in the capital of the European Union. You have said, correct me if I'm wrong, that you would be prepared to break EU law in the interests of Romania if required. Would you consider yourself hostile to the EU establishment, perhaps in the same way as Prime Minister Orban of Hungary? Do you share the same views?
We share some common views with Prime Minister Orban. We share, in a same sense, same views with the former Slovenian Prime Minister Janša. But I am one of the three vice presidents of European Conservatives and Reformists, a party which leaders like Giorgia Meloni and Mateusz Morawiecki have a more proactive desire to collaborate with each EU institutions. Of course, I'm an opposition leader now in Romania. Of course, I have a strong voice. And of course, through democratic elections, through the will of the people, we want to change the current direction of the EU institutions and their current leaders.
So would you be prepared to break EU law if that was in the interests of Romania?
I put my country's interests first. I will respect all international laws, and we haven't agreed to give up our constitution, our sovereignty. So if somebody will come and impose gender change operation for small children, or will impose, like they have imposed, to close our coal mines, I will say no. And we will see what are the penalties, and we will calculate what are the risks. Of course, I am a person who wants dialogue and prefers collaboration, so I will put collaboration, dialogue on the first place.
Okay. Last time we talked, which was a remote interview, we talked a lot about Calin Georgescu, and it was about the time, obviously, for those who don't know, he was prevented from standing in these elections. It was a very controversial decision.
We are like Iran. In this moment, we have some ayatollahs who represent the establishment that they can say who can run and who cannot run. Mr. Georgescu was supposed to be the lawful president elected by the Romanians, president of Romania, and he is not. More, he is banned for being a candidate, and we must repair this. We must return to democracy, to the constitutional order, and I think very popular term here in Brussels, we must return to the rule of law.
Rule of law. Now, he was banned, as you say. Do you believe, when you talk about the establishment didn't let him run, is that the Romanian establishment, or do you think other EU countries had a role in that?
It was our government with some deep state elements. And of course, with the blessing of the EU Commission and of the involvement of Emmanuel Macron, the only European leader who spoke about Russian intervention, for which I didn't see until this day any shred of evidence.
Right, that evidence has been controversial. Some say very poor. Now, you talked about repairing what has been done. How will you go about it? I mean, there have been reports in your country that you might make him prime minister.
Well, if this is the will of the people, if the Romanian people will decide, and including at Sunday's vote, that this is the option, I think I will choose to remain a Democrat and follow the sovereignty of the people, like it is written in the Constitution, and will not make judgments on the contents of the opinions. I will follow the wisdom of the crowds.
So making Mr. Georgescu a prime minister is a possibility.
Of course, it is a possibility as long as he desires to be a prime minister.
Right.
He was supposed to be a president, so you can imagine it's his option and the Romanian people's option, not my option.
And you've talked about repairing, though, the damage to democracy that has been done. Is there any other way you can repair?
Giving the trust of democracy of the vote back to the people, because this trust has been broken. We have been humiliated. It is against human nature to annul elections and to say we don't care about your vote, you are stupid, you those who voted are stupid, are influenced by TikTok and advertising, so we who are smart decide instead of you.
Okay, and to what extent have you had contact with Mr. Georgescu? You voted together in the first round, is that right?
We keep in touch every time it is necessary. We will go tomorrow to a TV show together. He advises me. Actually, yesterday while I was in Rome, he was at a TV show and said I am his protege, and he wants to teach me things about diplomacy. I'm a young individual, I'm 38 years old.
Indeed.
And I'm willing to learn, and I'm keen to do good things for Romania and for Europe.
He's a very spiritual man as well, is he not? Is this a side of him that you have incorporated into your
Yes,
politics?
I'm much more pragmatic, and I'm thinking in terms of doing business. And yes, Mr. Georgescu has managed to do a Romanian awakening in conscience. People are awakening and seeing the truth that 35 years we have been living a lie and we didn't had a democracy.
45 years, this is since the revolution.
45 years, yes.
Right, you say Romania hasn't had a fully functioning democracy since then.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because nothing changed. They just killed Ceausescu, but the former communists, the former Securitate remained in place and just painting themselves as Democrats. But when somebody outside their establishment came and won fair and square the elections, they annulled the result.
Okay. Can we talk for 2 minutes about the Romanian economy, please? Now, the figures that I've seen suggest that it's in bad shape. You have large budget deficits, high inflation, below average economic growth. Do you have any plans for the economy?
We have to reduce our budgetary deficit. It's a historical budgetary deficit approved by the European Commission, so that the extremists will not come to power, so that Ursula von der Leyen and other people here in Brussels will keep their seat. The only thing about doing this is taking our time negotiating with our European and international partners and cutting bureaucracy, the expenditures on administration, the costs of the state, reducing red tape, and encouraging private initiative, letting the market to be free, attracting foreign investors.
Okay, there's another subject. You wrote an editorial for us, which we published a few days ago. One of the elements in there I found very, very interesting, in that I knew nothing about it, and that was the possibility of the restoration of the Romanian monarchy. Can you talk a bit about that, please?
Yes, we have been smeared in this campaign like never before. I gave interviews like I'm giving you now this interview, and somebody asked me, is there a possibility to have a monarchy back in Romania? And I said yes, because I'm a Democrat. And if we will have 50% plus one of the total population that is for restoring the monarchy, I find it in normal terms. And so if we have the critical mass, it is a possibility, because in the period between the two world wars and before the First World War, since our independence, we had a monarch, and things were going good. And comparing to the presidents we had in the last 35 years, it was much better.
So, okay. And so, what do you think the advantage of a monarch is compared to a president?
Stability. You can see in many countries where you have monarchs that things are not changing from a leader to another. There's a sense of continuing some policies, even if the governments change. So in this aspect, a monarch is for life and doesn't have to concentrate of winning the votes of the people.
So it sounds like personally you're in favor.
If
People agree.
a referendum would be organized tomorrow, yes, personally,
You would vote
I would vote for, if we find the right person. So some were thinking 5 years or 10 years ago about Charles III, but he is now in another engagement.
Because how the rules in Romania, wouldn't they need changing if a woman is to become queen? Aren't there hereditary rules at the moment only allow...
Yes.
right?
It's a Salic law, and I mentioned King Charles because he loves Romania. We have a beautiful country, and I recommend to everybody that watches our material and watches the Brussels Signal to visit Romania. We'll be very friendly to tourists and to foreign investors.
Well, I would love to come. So before this referendum, you'd have to change the law to allow women to ascend to the throne. Would that be the plan, or?
We don't make differences between men and women. Personally, I find women much more capable than us men, so I wouldn't have a problem with this. The only problem is with the royal family. They have to change their law, not as a state.
Okay, right. We're almost out of time, but can you just tell me what you're doing here in Brussels, please?
I'm meeting ECR and other sovereignist and conservative leaders. I'm meeting with persons that represent the EU institutions. And the Brussels press, because it's good that people know me. I'm available to dialogue, to build together, to shape the Europe of tomorrow.
Because you've been to a few countries in the last few days before the elections. It has surprised some people who thought you'd be campaigning in Romania. But I know there is a big diaspora, isn't there? Is that why you've been visiting?
Partially, we are not desperate to get the power. If the Romanians want us in power and want a change, they will go and vote Sunday. Our diaspora will vote Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we are not that desperate to convince anyone. We made our stance clear. We are for democracy, for freedom, for peace. So we will let the Romanian people figure out who is the best to govern the country in the next years.
We still have 2 minutes, so I'm going to squeeze one last question in. I should have asked it earlier when we talked about Russia and the like. Your position on NATO, please.
NATO is the greatest military alliance in history. NATO is vital for us, and not only for us, for the Poland, for the Baltic states. So my stance will be a strong one to keep boots on the ground, military bases. And I am the only one in the Romanian current political leadership who can do this and who can have good relations with the Trump administration.
Mr. Simion, thank you for coming into the studio. If you become president, please come again.
I will come in the following 2 weeks because I plan to get involved. I'm a very active individual, so I will come here for the benefit of my citizens, of I will represent, and for the future of Europe.
Many thanks for watching.